the entire plot of the movie in the last 10 minutes, didn't we? Accompanied by a little late movie cameo by Moon Unit Zappa as Rusty's girlfriend. I should point out that there was some infighting of how they were going to end that flick. Chevy Chase wanted it to be him sitting in front of the fireplace saying, "It's good to be home." But Matty Simmons pointed out that they were making a comedy, and then he came up with what I think is a pretty funny ending, which is that they're all relieved to be home, and a guy with a camera crew knocks on the door saying, "You've just won a trip to the Great Wall of China." And Chevy's really happy, and he turns to the rest of the family, and they're all glaring at him, so he says meekly to the guy, "What's second prize?" But Chevy Chase was so PO'd at Matty that he'd ixnayed his idea, that Chevy then ixnayed Matty's idea, and they had to go with Amy Heckerling, the director's idea, which was the Statue of Liberty thing that we just saw. And what do you expect from the director of Look Who's Talking To, the only flick we've ever given 0 stars to on this show? But anyway, I'm being incredibly rude to our recreational geography guest lecturer, Robin Leach, who's here with us still. And by the way, Robin, what are you up to these days? What projects do you have going on?
Oh, we're in the middle of making the world's first simultaneously cast television show that runs on the internet at the same time, so that if you watch the program on the internet and you click on something that you like, you can go off and wander all around and then come back to the television show where you left it on the internet. But in real time on television, it would be the full 30 minutes all at once.
And so the show will run on the internet at the same time that it runs on television?
Correct.
And will it run then repeatedly on the internet at the same time?
Well, once it's in your hard drive memory bank,
you can just
pull it up
download
whenever you want to.
And what's the show about?
That bit has to remain a secret even to you.
Oh, like an unveiling on the
There's
internet.
a little shades of the old joys of lifestyles about it.
Okay, you have to watch that stuff. You know what happened to Geraldo?
Yeah, he opened a safe.
Yeah, and there was nothing in it.
There you go.
Okay. I tell you what, I'm going to let you do the drive-in totals when we do them, because you do have one of the all-time greatest voices in broadcasting. You and James Earl Jones.
Boy, to be put in the same category, I'm honored. Thank you.
You could make a lot of money doing phone sex. Because...
Why?
You ever thought about that?
Why?
Guys do phone sex, not just girls, because deep voice. Deep, interesting voice. You know?
I can picture you there now as I run my
No,
hands.
no. Don't do it, Robert. Oh, you've done it. You've done it. I know you have. Okay, next week is the first big week after the show moves to L.A., and my premiere flicks are going to be Dragnet, the Tom Hanks, Dan Aykroyd flick, and the
What
1975...
movie has Dan Aykroyd not worked in?
Every movie we show has Dan Aykroyd. Then we're going to show the 1975 classic, The Devil's Reign, with Ernest Borgnine and William Shatner, and I'm planning a big show for that night. Right now, we're going to watch The Great Outdoors, where Dan Aykroyd, his snobby wife, and his psycho twin daughters show up at John Candy's vacation rental cabin and make his and his family's life a living hell. It's again written and produced by the infamous John Hughes. So let's do the drive-in totals and get it started. Go ahead, Robin, right into the camera.
We have no dead bodies, no breasts, one tongue burning, some bear scalping, unintentional water skiing, splinters to the butt, leg biting, bat hunting, giant steak eating, giant steak puking, gratuitous teen romance, broom foo, tennis racket foo, fishing net foo, 2 stars.
That was excellent, Robin. Okay, check it out. We'll be back with Robin Leach at the first break. Roll the film. By the way, when you go to foreign countries, do you speak any other languages, or do you just kind of wing it?
You should always try to speak a little bit of the foreign language, but badly, so that they can secretly laugh at you behind your back.
I'm glad you said that.
And then they'll try to help you for trying.
I'm glad
But
you
if
said that.
You
Yeah.
appear to be an expert in their language.
Okay, we're
they
on
will
the
just
same
kill
wavelength.
you.
Yeah, okay, because this is what I do. Like let's say I'm in Italy, I just put A at the end of everything. You know, where is the bathroom? And it pretty much does the trick, except in Sicily,
trick?
where they just never get it.
It doesn't do anything else, just a trick.
Yeah, it's just...
Trick up.
Well, so far it's not too lame. I like that last scene where Dan Aykroyd comforts his daughters with the story of the Army psychiatric patient who ate a family. Professor Joe Bob here with guest lecturer Robin Leach, who's been to about 9,000 different countries and who's going to share every one of them with us. And
A long night ahead we have.
You know, the resort they're using in this movie reminds me of this place I heard about. In fact, our producer, David, has been there. It used to be the Vanderbilt's Rustic Hideaway, Sagamore, I think it's called. In
Sagamore Lake, upstate New York.
Upstate New York. You know about that place?
Mm-hmm.
Have you been there?
Yes.
Well, I think it costs like $10 grand a night or something to stay there, right?
Mere bagatelle, young man.
Well, was it worth it?
Well, first of all, I didn't spend 10 grand.
Okay.
Let's get that straight. But yeah, I mean, it's spectacular. There are many, many what they call summer camps that the rich multi-millionaire magnates of New York built in pre-air conditioning days. And they put them on the different lakes in upstate New York. So again, it had to be bigger, it had to be better than the next millionaire down the road. So that's why as you progressively go higher up from New York City, they keep on getting bigger and bigger.
If you're spending...
Now they've all become resorts.
Right. If you're spending 10 grand a night, can you steal the towels?
I think they're automatically included in the bill, but I make that a good rule to always take something from a hotel as a souvenir.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Always.
I like you, Robin. How long was Lifestyles on the air?
It had a 14-year run, which was a mighty long time in the world of television.
And then the travel...
And we were doing Runaway at the same time, which ran for 8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
The travel version of Lifestyles.
Yeah.
I miss Lifestyles.
Well,
I'm serious.
A lot of people do. A lot of people
really do.
You know.
And I think...
But it had come to a point where, you know, creatively we wanted to do something different, and we'd sort of peaked in terms of just how many times you could yell, $10 billion! So, and to be quite honest with you, we were getting too many rich people.
Really?
Yeah, it's sort of taken off the edge of the exclusivity.
Oh, well, I was going to say that we need it now more because there are more millionaires created in the last 5 years than ever before in the history of Wall Street. They're all becoming millionaires.
More billionaires.
More billionaires,
so
okay.
The next one would be Lifestyles of the Powerful.
Really?
Yeah, because I think power is
money.
Bigger than wealth. It's the final frontier, as William Shatner will tell
of
you
the powerful.
week.
But what would you show on the show? Would you show them, like, you know, whipping their minions? I mean, how do you show power on a show?
But isn't that why Bill Gates is undergoing this investigation in Washington?
Yeah, so that, in other words, Bill Gates would make a great show, but Bill Gates would never go on your show, Robin.
Well, we had his house on our show before he built it. You know, he's the richest man in the world now. The richest man in the world lives right here in the United States. And he built this extraordinary house up on the Pacific Northwest coast that is mind-boggling. It can take car parking for 200 visitors. The paintings are all classics that change as you walk through room to room to room. So if you're in a French mood when you arrive, he just punches the button and all the pictures from the Louvre suddenly appear on all the walls.
Wow. How many people used to call you up and virtually beg you to have their house on your show?
Well, I remember you did once, and I said that it just...
Yeah, mate. It was
one-room flat
it was the big
Dallas
trailer.
was not going to work. Surprisingly, a number of people called, or they had friends call to make the suggestion.
Started working it.
Yeah, it became like the Good Housekeeping seal of approval.
And
if
did that
you really
ever work?
were rich
did you ever
and famous,
go for that? Or did you think, well, if they want to be on that bad, I don't want them?
We sort of discreetly told them, thank you very much.
Really?
It's like we also didn't take the Marcuses because I didn't like them. We didn't take the Duvaliers because I don't like ill-gotten wealth. I like money that's earned by hard work and diligence and dedication.
Oh, you love nouveau riche, then?
Yeah, because that is the ultimate of hard work, diligence, and dedication.
Okay. Well, I think I can put a deal together for you, Robin.
Yes.
So, I think there's a show to do here. What is it? The Lifestyles of the Powerful. That's what you want to do, right?
Privileged and powerful.
Lifestyles of the Privileged
I
and Powerful.
love alliteration.
Okay, just give me a couple of days in L.A. We'll work out some trade-outs, you know, while we watch a little more of the great outdoors. Roll it. Don't you love that word, Robin? Trade-outs?
It sends shivers down my spine.
Yeah, me too.
It means something that's a lot less in cash than what it really is worth.
Yes, it does. Wait, what was I saying about this movie not being lame? Can I take that back? I'm especially enjoying the raccoon subtitles. But Thank goodness we've got our guest lecturer, Robin Leach, here for the last night of Joe Bob's Summer School. And he was telling us about the great party towns of the world. So, Robin, I meant to ask you this before. Several segments back, you were telling us about the great
this is one of the best segues of all time.
No, I forgot to...
Raccoons to parties.
Yes,
okay.
but I forgot to ask you about Brunei. Have you been to Brunei?
Yes. Brunei is an extraordinary nation in the Southeast Asian seas. And the Sultan of Brunei is one of the richest men in the world, certainly the richest ruler in the world. He has a fortune of about $40 billion, which makes about $10 million in interest an hour alone. And extraordinary country where the unhappiest man there is the Mercedes-Benz dealer, because he's on short supply. Can't get enough Mercedes-Benz shipped in from Germany.
All right. Are all those stories about Brunei true?
Which all of them?
You know. I mean, is it
the
about
disco dens? You mean the beauty queens
the
that
enormous
go there
harems?
Oh, no, they don't have harems like that. But the palace in Brunei is 3,000 rooms,
yes.
And the dining room alone can seat 5,000 people for dinner.
I thought the guys went out and they paid the most beautiful women in the world to go there by the thousands.
Not quite
hundreds.
Why is it?
How many did you see, Robin? How many were in the room?
There are wild stories about gorgeous girls from Los Angeles being invited to go there and hang out
yes.
at the palace. And there's been some litigation about that, and there's been some controversy about it. And you never really know what's happened because you get so many versions. But there is no doubt that some of the most beautiful girls in America, and some even from L.A., where you're moving to, have been there. Why? I have no idea.
Yes, okay. Robin, you
It's
have seen some
out.
things. Yes, the trade-out. Doing those trade-outs. You have seen some things in your lifetime, Robin. Okay, that big John Candy water skiing scene we just watched reminds me that I've heard you're a big boating guy. What kind of boat do you have? You don't have a boat?
QE2 is not parked in my backyard. No, I love boating. I actually live down in the Caribbean, so being on the sea all the time.
Why does that not surprise me, that you live in the Caribbean?
Because I'm an Englishman who hates the rain and the damp of his old country.
And how many feet is your boat?
Actually, it's not ostentatious at all. It's rather modest.
Yes?
It's very modest, in fact.
I don't believe you.
It's true.
Well, I'm going to be disappointed.
Now, the house ain't so shabby.
Okay. Do you take your yacht all over the world, or you just hang out in the bay and drink disgustingly sweet British cocktails or something?
Both.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to disappoint you.
Okay. Well,
the image is protected.
All right. Well, you probably don't have to think too hard to know what I would be doing in the same situation. So let's get back to the great outdoors. Of course, I get seasick, though, especially after 13 shots of iced tea.
I got seasick watching John Candy trying to water ski.
Yes, that was not a pretty sight, was it?
No.
The right movie for our last night at Joe Bob's Summer School, one that has absolutely no plot to get in the way of our recreational geography lecture by Robin Leach. So, hey, Robin, have you ever had a vacation that just completely sucked? Like where some really horrible thing happened?
I would never take a vacation like Mr. Candy and Mr. Aykroyd took.
Well, they weren't planning to have a bad vacation. Are you telling me nothing bad ever happens to you on vacation?
I will tell you one amusing story. I was once flying from Hong Kong to Bangkok, and it was a very, very long period of filming that we've been on, 82 days of traveling around that part of the world. So you begin to forget, just how many bags you're carrying and what's in the bags. And I woke up in Bangkok and went to the hotel, went back to sleep, woke up in the bed, and there were these two gentlemen standing at the foot of the bed, and they said, Mr. Reach, bad Bangkok Thai impression, but they said, Mr. Reach, no clothes in bag. And I said, no clothes in bag? What are they talking about? They'd opened the bags and showed that there were no clothes there. Now you say to me, Robin, how could you be so stupid that you would leave all of your clothes left hanging in the hotel room
In
and
Hong
in the
Kong.
chest of drawers in Hong Kong. But when you move around the world like we did with film equipment, we were carrying like 160 pieces of baggage, so you never really bothered. And I was so exhausted I'd forgotten to pack. But because I was staying in the best hotel in the world, in Bangkok, the Oriental, 6 hours later they had everything moved from Hong Kong, a country away, to my hotel room, freshly laundered, freshly dry cleaned, and freshly pressed, and all put away exactly the way that it should have been.
Who were the two guys going through your bags?
They, I know you want to be funny about it, but I can't be funny. They were two of the best room stewards that you could ever wish to meet anywhere in the world.
Oh, so they were unpacking your bags, and there was
well,
nothing
of course.
there.
Don't you have your bags unpacked when you go on
Oh,
vacation?
absolutely. My room steward is...
Your jeans are freshly pressed?
Yeah, I mean, they're waiting backstage now. 2 room stewards. I had a really bad trip once. I was supposed to be going to Dardanelle, Arkansas for the Frog Eating Festival, and I accidentally got on the wrong bus and ended up in Oneida, Kentucky, where I got my butt kicked by a guy named Dwayne for drooling on his jacket while I was asleep. So never trust those bargain travel agencies.
No,
and
don't travel by bus.
I bet you've never... Have you ever been on a bus, Robin?
Well, when I was little in England.
Your mother made you get on it, right?
No choice.
By the way, do you know where the best deals are right now, travel-wise, for somebody who doesn't have $10,000 a night?
I guess on the internet.
Really?
You name your own price now. You call Bill Shatner and he beams himself into your living room and takes you to the cheapest hotel in the world, courtesy of the cheapest airline in the world.
What about if you're shopping for the most expensive places, those places where you have to pay $30 for a cup of coffee and everything? Where do you...
Those places do exist, you know. $20 for a glass of orange juice, $30 for a cup of coffee. We'll put some of those in that new TV show I was telling you about.
Okay, all right. I got to start making a list of these potential travel destinations.
Okay.
And anyway, the $20 cup of coffee, I'm going to cross that one off the list. Okay, let's get back to the movie, and we'll come back with Robin Leach's final travel tips. Can you stay just a few minutes more?
I've got to watch the end now.
Okay.
This was the best bit.
You know, really, I
The
think, Robin, dollar for dollar, your best travel bargain is Oil City, Pennsylvania.
Now, why do you say that?
You can still get the shrimp scampi at the Sizzler there for only $4.95.
That's
Really?
a bargain.
Unlimited drink refills.
What is the name of this restaurant?
The Sizzler.
In where?
You've never been to a Sizzler?
In where?
Steak and Lobster, Oil City, Pennsylvania.
I'm going to check it out. On the
You check-
flight home, I'm going to look down from
Big
35.
Texan Steakhouse, Amarillo, Texas.
I love the food in Amarillo, Texas.
Did you try for the 72-ounce steak? If you eat the whole thing, you
I
get it
saw
free?
John Candy try to eat the 96-ounce steak here,
Yeah.
and he failed.
Well, there's a real place like that in
And
Amarillo,
they have
Texas.
rattlesnake in Amarillo, Texas. And
Sweetwater.
armadillo.
Yes. Did you eat it?
I've eaten alligator, and I've eaten crocodile, and I've eaten some odd things on my world travels. I even, in Taiwan, ate snake that was massaged by a rat that they put in its backside and made it come out of its mouth.
They have rat massage in Taiwan?
Yes. After the snake had drunk its own urine being soaked and drowned in sake, I ate that snake.
Really? Why? You know why?
Because
you're
it was
English.
necessary.
You know what I
I
said about
thought that was better food than we had in England. No, I did it for the sake of the camera, my art.
Ah, okay. What a trooper. Excuse me, but is this romantic teen subplot about to make you barf too? You know, that girl who plays Cammy, Lucy Deakins, she's a babe, but did they get those love scenes from another movie? What are they doing in this movie? What is going on here? And by the way, I should point out, since this is Recreational Geography 207, or is it 206? 206 was the bed and breakfast class. Another place you've never been, Robin, a bed and breakfast. Anyhow, that scene where John Candy eats the entire steak dinner.
No, but I've always eaten breakfast in bed.
Oh, very good. It's actually based on that real restaurant in Amarillo that we were talking about, the Big Texan Steak Ranch. We're still here with Robin Leach. So, Robin, where are the celebrities going these days? What's hot right now?
Everybody rushes to St. Bart's in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I live a little further away in Antigua in the West Indies. But
French Island, right? St. Bart's?
no, French-Dutch. Dutch.
French and Dutch. Dutch?
Well, you have to go to the half island of St. Martin, half French, half Dutch, in order to go to St. Bartholomew, which is really Dutch, although a lot of French people live there and hang out there.
And what's the big deal about that place?
Beats me too. And there it does cost $20 for an orange juice.
Really?
Sacre bleu, you say. And that's what they
Yes,
will say
I
when
do.
they
I
get
was
the
saying
bill.
that this morning. Have you ever hung out with anybody from this movie, like Dan Aykroyd or Annette Bening, Warren Beatty, maybe?
Maybe this is where Warren Beatty spotted Annette Bening for the first time.
Well, maybe.
Maybe. But I actually know Dan Aykroyd and his lovely wife Donna, and they're really good. They're really neat people, and you know the two of them, Harley Davidson, their way across the United States on Highway 80 or 95 South. Or
Well, what do you do, ride in the sidecar?
No. I just let them tell me after they've done it.
Okay. I want you to help me pick where I'm going on my next vacation. I'm not going in the United States.
Okay.
Since you've been everywhere, I either want to go, see if you can look real close. There's actually an island here. It's called Yap. It's in the Palau Islands.
Yes.
Is Yap nice?
It's very small, hardly
Yes.
can be seen, and not too easy to get to.
Yes.
But it has a nice ring to it, that name, doesn't it?
Yes, it
There's
does.
a lot of
Yap.
dogs there.
Yes. Then there's this other place called Qingdao. So
That's a good Chinese beer, that.
I figure the brewery has got to be there, right?
I think you're right.
Okay, Robin Leach, thanks so much for being here, Robin. All our guest lecturers get a book to take home as a little memento, and I think you'll like what we've got for you. Have you been to Missouri yet?
Yes, that's where the original arch.
Well, that's
freedom
only
of St.
that's only
Louis.
St. Louis. That's the tip of the iceberg.
Oh,
Because we got you
that was it.
Missouri in words and pictures. And
There
it
is
has
the arch. Look,
the arch. The arch is the
half
most.
a McDonald.
That's the most famous landmark in Missouri. But there's a whole world out there in Missouri.
There is.
So the next time you plan a trip, you'll need that. All right, we're going back to the great outdoors now, and hope they'll finally wrestle up some plot here. So roll it. See, it's real easy to read. I think one of those large print books.
They have
I
a
think.
bird there.
The state bird of Missouri.
They do basket weaving?
Basket weaving, hillbilly basket weaving in the Ozarks. Yeah, it's
The Ozarks.
the Ozarks.
Isn't that where Burt Reynolds had that nasty experience playing dueling?
No, that was Georgia. That's
Same-
another place you
same.
should visit,
It's
Robin.
all the same, though. Mountain men strumming.
Yeah. They'll love you in Branson, Robin.
I'd like you to see, folks, the photographs of Missouri. Page after page of imagined drawings. This is an old picture as well. Look, the man is still wearing funny clothes.
I can tell this will be over your
Oh, look,
mantle.
another
in-
one. And a map to show all the places around Missouri.
Just think how happy the people will be when they get this off your coffee table in Antigua.
This is one book I hope they steal.
Thank you,
It's been
Robin.
a pleasure being a lecturer, and thank you for my souvenir. Bit dog-eared. You must have read this many times.
Yes. Class, here's the thing we're really learning tonight. We're learning the truth about John Hughes. We talked about him a little bit earlier, and the truth is that when you really look into it, the guy's got some really smelly work on his resume, you know? Apparently, it takes him 3 days to write a screenplay, and guess what? It's starting to show on these screenplays. He started out great. You know, he wrote National Lampoon's Vacation and Mr. Mom. He wrote and directed 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Then his movies started tanking. So he didn't direct his next script, which was Home Alone. And, of course, that was a monster hit, and his friends say that he was really PO'd that his biggest hit movie was directed by somebody else. It was Chris Columbus that directed that, by the way. So now John Hughes doesn't direct anymore. And the things he writes are just kind of recycled from his old scripts, except when he's doing remakes of old Disney movies, which he's doing a lot of. But his name has really kind of remained untarnished. John Hughes, he's still, big in Hollywood until tonight. Whoops. All right, let's get back to the great outdoors. I think we need another romantic love scene, don't we? Whew. Hey, let's chase a bat with a tennis racket. Then let's have a romantic love scene. Then let's whack John Candy in the head with a golf ball. You know, then a romantic love scene. You know, let's eat a big steak. Cut to the talking raccoons. You know, when in doubt, go raccoon. You know, copyright 1988, Mr. John Hughes. Raccoon humor. Think something's going to happen with John Candy and the bear? Okay, I'm not going to give anything away. Not that it would ruin it. If I did, this movie is just so full of plot twists, and my head is spinning with the complexity of this movie. By the way, you know what I realized when I was watching that last part? This was Annette Bening's first movie. Actually, she was in a TV movie the year before this in 1986, but this was her first feature film. And then 3 years later, she made a big splash in The Grifters and became a major movie star. She's only done 16 movies and 1 TV guest spot in 13 years. That's a really tiny amount for somebody of her caliber. But to give you a little perspective, John Candy was in 58 movies and TV shows before he died. Dan Aykroyd's got 59 things on his resume. Is this meaningful? No, it's not. And speaking of the movie, it's almost over. So, thrilling conclusion to The Great Outdoors. You know what I like Annette Bening in? Is Bugsy. You know, she has all those hissy fits and she throws things at Warren Beatty. She's what you call spunky in that. If they're cute, they're spunky. If they're ugly, they're, well, TNT won't let me say the word anymore, but they're character actresses. Thank you very much for those extra raccoon subtitles there at the end. After the frightening bear attack sequence, it is over, isn't it? And Joe Bob's summer school is over. We didn't exactly go out with a bang. We went out with a whimper, but will you sign my yearbook? Will you sign my yearbook? It's time to get yearbook signed. And hey, don't forget to take the final exam on the summer school website so you can get your diploma. Good for credit at the Southern Arizona Community College at Ajo. And besides goat roping, I believe they also have tortilla pressing as a major. They just added that. So get in before the program fills up. And don't forget that by next week I'll be in L.A. for the big premiere of Joe Bob's Hollywood Saturday Night, when we'll be showing a better Dan Aykroyd flick, Dragnet, followed by William Shatner and Ernest Borgnine in The Devil's Reign. It's going to be a big deal hoo-ha show, so check that out. And that's it for Joe Bob's Summer School. I'm Professor Joe Bob, asking, if the number 2 pencil is the most popular, why is it still number 2? Did you guys hear the one about the 3 Irishmen, Patty, Sean, and Seamus, who were stumbling home from the pub late one night? And they find themselves on this road which leads past the old graveyard. So Patty says, come have a look over here. It's Michael O'Grady's grave. God bless his soul, he lived to the ripe old age of 87. And Sean says, well, that's nothing. Here's one named Patrick O'Toole. It says here that he was 95 when he died. And just then Seamus yells out, good God, here's a fellow that got to be 145 years old. Patty says, what was his name? And Seamus stumbles around a bit and he awkwardly lights this match to see what else is written on the stone marker, and he exclaims, Miles from Dublin. Joe Bob Briggs reminding you that the drive-in will never die. Did you hear about the guy in Paris who almost got away with stealing a bunch of paintings from the Louvre? He planned the crime, broke in, evaded security, got out, escaped with the paintings, but he was captured 2 blocks away because his Econoline van ran out of gas. And they asked him what happened. They said, how could you mastermind that crime and then make such an obvious mistake? And he says, I had no Monet to buy Degas to make the Van Gogh. It's much better on paper because of that Degas part, you know. You guys know where Irish families go on vacation? A different bar.